everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Shady, you're in the zone, and I would love to start this video out the way I usually start my videos out, saying good morning, how you doing? Greetings from the beautiful state of Colorado and all that jazz. But right now, as of today, Colorado is probably going through one of the darkest times that I've seen in a while. We've had a couple of others, but this is probably one of the darkest times that I've seen here in Colorado in a while. Late last night, about 2 a.m. this morning, actually, the Colorado Senate voted for Amendment SB, I'm sorry, not amendment, SB 25-003. I was up until about 11:30 watching the coverage. And before I go any further, huge shout out to the great Timber Lodge and Nicholas over there. Nicholas did a marathon on this bill, and the legislature, sorry about that, the legislature and all the proceedings. At the 11th, what these people did was at the 11th hour, literally about 11 o'clock last night, they added an amendment to this bill. There were 4 Democrats, I believe it was 4 Democrats, that were actually kind of iffy about which way they were going to go on this bill. And if we could have swung a couple of those votes, it wouldn't have passed. But like I said, in the 11th hour last night, not too long before time to vote on this thing, they tacked on an amendment to it. This amendment basically says that, okay, there are 40 hunting rifles that we will allow you to have, if you pay the state of Colorado a fee and take a hunter safety course. Do I have to tell you how utterly ridiculous that is? Now, what happens with this is this hunter safety course, this little card you're going to get, is good for 5 years. And in that 5 years, if you decide that you want to buy a semi-automatic rifle, one that they have approved, you may do so. At the end of that 5 years, if your rifle breaks, if you're just totally not satisfied with your weapon, you can go and you can take this course all over again. I believe it's an 8-hour course. You can take this course all over again, and you can get you another little card and you can go buy a weapon. In the meantime, if you don't take this course, you cannot sell that weapon. You cannot buy another weapon. You cannot trade that weapon. The only way that you can get rid of that weapon, the only way that you can acquire a weapon like this, is if you are an heir to somebody who has one and they give it to you. Or the only way you can get rid of it is if you will that to somebody. Last minute, and I believe they must have swung a couple of those votes because this thing passed, and it will go for a 3rd reading today in the Senate. If it passes the 3rd reading today, it will go to the House of Representatives, which, from everything I've heard, it's another battle if we can stop it in the House. It may even be a bigger battle if we can stop it in the House. Should it pass through the House, it will go to Governor Jared Polis' desk. Polis has some options, and as I have said before, I dislike Polis. Polis is a socialist liberal. However, he has, so far in the past, he has shied away from any kind of gun ban, any kind of ban on weapons, anything like that has anything to do with violating the Second Amendment, because, believe it or not, this guy has aspirations of being president of the United States someday. Now, just because he doesn't sign the bill does not mean that it won't be law. I think there's something that If the governor doesn't sign the bill, then it sits for a certain time, then it becomes law anyway. He can veto the bill. If he vetoes the bill, it's done. If he doesn't sign it, or if he does sign it, it can go to the Colorado Supreme Court. Now, these are the all-stars that said, yes, it's perfectly okay to take Trump off the 2024 ballot. So you see where their minds are. Okay. So probably nothing will happen to it there. In which case, I don't know if it would go to an appellate court or if it would go straight to the Supreme Court. But if it goes to the Supreme Court of the United States of America, I got a feeling that they will shoot it down in a heartbeat. They have already made some pretty positive rulings on some Second Amendment things here over the past couple of months. I don't see this passing because this thing is unconstitutional as it can be. You know, they want to ban all. If your weapon has a detachable stock, I keep saying detachable stock. If your weapon has a detachable magazine, it will be illegal in the state of Colorado. It's okay if you already own it now, but all the rest of it, you're done. You can't buy it, sell it, trade it, anything. So it is sad that we have to depend on the Supreme Court of the United States of America to save us. Now I'll be truthful with y'all. This bill has met a ton of opposition. The people of Colorado, perhaps probably some of you listening to this right now, have spoken out against this. When this thing went through its testimonies earlier, they had about an hour and a half of people that stood up and testified for this bill. The rest of it, about 5.5 hours of testimony, were people opposed to this bill. They don't care. They honestly don't care what I think. They don't care what you think. They don't give a crap about their opinion or about our opinion. They only care about pushing this agenda through and getting this bill passed, which, by the way, as I have said before and is common knowledge now, this bill did not even originate in the state of Colorado. Bloomberg and his Everytown anti-gun communist organization wrote this bill and fed it to Senator Tom Sullivan and her name escapes me right now. Another senator. All I can say is this lady is Colorado's AOC. She is dumb as a box of rocks. I watched her testimony some yesterday, and I swear to God, the woman was eating edibles and then getting up and testifying because she's fried. But Tom Sullivan, and I covered this before, his son was killed in the Aurora theater shooting here a few years ago. And believe it or not, folks, I have empathy for Tom Sullivan. I really do. And Senator Sullivan, I'm speaking to you right now. What happened to your son was a tragedy. And I emphasize with you, I understand how you feel. When I was 8 years old, my mom was murdered by a man with a gun. She was shot at point blank range with a 12 gauge. And a lot of people tell me that I should be anti-gun, that I should be anti-Second Amendment, that I should want everything banned, but I do not. And the reason I do not is because I think to myself, what if the manager of this mobile home lot that was showing her homes because she was leaving her estranged husband, if he'd had a gun, he might have been able to save her. If there had been a good guy with a gun in that theater in Aurora that night, your son might still be alive today. But this bill is going to take firearms. It's going to keep law-abiding citizens from purchasing firearms. Do you actually think if you saw the film of the Tren de Aragua gang members taking over the apartment complexes in Aurora, and whether that was a takeover or whether it wasn't, y'all can argue that as much as you want to. These people are clearly in this video with weapons. Do you think those guys bought those weapons legally? Do you think that any one of those guys in that film would pay money to take a hunter safety course so they could go and purchase the guns that they used to terrorize the residents of that apartment complex? Do you really think they would do that? No, they won't. The only thing that you're doing is you're keeping law-abiding citizens from protecting themselves. You are creating a black market in this state for firearms. And it won't just be criminals, because now, as a shirt that I wear a lot in these videos says, when guns are outlawed, I will become an outlaw. You're going to make law-abiding citizens outlaws. And it wasn't even your idea in the first place. You were letting lobbyists in D.C. control the state of Colorado. Now, like I said, y'all, I have to go to work here in just a little bit, so I will probably not be able to do anything else or comment make another video until later on this evening, if I can then. It is that special day where you show your love to your partner, and me and Mrs. Shady are planning a nice dinner tonight. So we'll see what happens. Y'all take care of each other. God bless, and until the next time, do two things: pray and stay shady.
This is where we hold them! This is where we fight! And these shields, boys!